The vote to change Bitcoin opens today and it is already dead. BIP 110 needs 55% of miners to signal support. In the run-up, it is getting about 2.5%, not 55, 2.5. What happens next answers the oldest question in crypto: who actually controls Bitcoin? The answer is not who you think. Quick catch-up if you missed yesterday. BIP 110 is a proposal to restrict certain kinds of data transactions on Bitcoin. Its supporters wrote activation rules that force the issue, starting at block 961,632, which arrives today. Miners must signal yes or no in every block they mine. 2016 blocks, about 2 weeks, to reach 55%. The run-up numbers have bounced between 0.3 and 2.6%, 51 signaling blocks out of the last 2016. And here is the detail that matters. Not one major mining pool has publicly backed it. The silence is the vote. Here is the shape of it. First, the breakaway chain already exists, and it is already struggling. Nodes running the BIP 110 software rejected blocks that do not signal, which means they split onto their own minority chain. That chain fell behind the main chain almost immediately. With a tiny fraction of mining power, its block times stretch from the normal 10 minutes to hours, sometimes days. A blockchain nobody mines is a database nobody updates. The market does not have to reject it. Physics does. Second, the money's verdict came in early. Michael Saylor, whose company holds more Bitcoin than any other corporation, called the fork already failed and said any breakaway chain would be economically insignificant. Whatever you think of Saylor, follow the incentive. Exchanges decide which chain gets the ticker. Custodians decide which chain institutions can touch. Miners decide which chain earns their electricity bill. Every one of those actors has chosen the main chain by default, simply by not moving. Control by apathy is still control. Third, the backdrop makes the calm more impressive. Bitcoin trades around $64,000 to $65,000. That is down more than 40% from the October 2025 peak near $126,000. Sentiment is in fear. The index reads about 30. Ether is under $2,000, down worse than Bitcoin on the year, so money is not rotating into alts. This is a scared defensive market. And even in that market, with prices down and tempers short, a contested change to Bitcoin's rules cannot find 3% support. In 2017, the block size war took years and split the community. In 2026, a fork attempt opens and closes in the same news cycle. The system got harder to change. And the fight is not over ideas, it is over process. Research desks note the same backers are already discussing covenant proposals and even quantum-resistant upgrades for future rounds. Bitcoin will face changes it genuinely needs someday. This vote is the dress rehearsal for that day, and the rehearsal says any change needs overwhelming consensus before the code ships, not after. Pulse notes. Quickly. The lock-in checkpoint sits at block 963,648. About 2 weeks out, so this story has one more scheduled beat. And Wednesday's inflation print hits crypto too. Bitcoin rallied with stocks on Friday's jobs shock. Same trade, same referee. What this means for you, and none of this is financial advice. If you hold Bitcoin, the practical risk from this fork is near zero, but fork season has rules. Rule 1. You do not need to do anything to keep your coins on the main chain. Rule 2. Be suspicious of anyone telling you to move coins, sync a new wallet, or claim forked tokens right now. Fork confusion is phishing season, and the scammers read the same headlines you do. Rule 3. Watch what the failure teaches. Bitcoin's resistance to change is the product institutions are actually buying. The fork failing is not drama, it is the sales pitch. So the question, is a network where no change can pass a feature or a bug? Drop your take in the comments. I read them. Blue pill. The fork failing proves Bitcoin is stable, self-correcting, and safe to build on. Red pill. It also proves that a handful of silent mining pools can veto anything, and veto power that never has to explain itself is still power. Both are true at the same time. That is the uncomfortable part. The big version of this question, who really controls Bitcoin, gets the full breakdown in tonight's special video. Watch for it. The timeline keeps moving. We will see you in the next one.